Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Cupid Parasite, going to start our new route today. We are starting Alan's route, our last route in the game. I'm going to keep this after drama. Alan Melville, I've been waiting for you, my darling. I'll never let you go. There we go. Have fun. So anyway, before we jump into this, there are 5 endings in this route. Okay, prologue, hold on. The sweet and spicy end, the sweet and the spicy end. Sweet, bitter end, and a bad end. Okay. So Shelby isn't the only special one who gets a kind of bad end. And then then the bonus episodes. Okay, so that was just it. So I just wanted to read that because I noticed that as I was loading up. So I'm not sure if we're supposed to be reading this or if this is Alan, so I'm just going to read it normal until we know for sure. The days we were apart were nothing but bitter cold. It was like the sun was lost behind the lonely, withered branches. It was excruciatingly dark and painful. But you offered your hand to me and healed my pain and suffering. I feel like it's Alan. The days I spent playing with your shadow has since become a thing of the past. I feel like that was Alan speaking to her. Yeah. Spacey, your gentle voice descended upon me. From now on, we will be together forever. We made that promise. This time we held a true wedding that was no game of... Well, actually, then maybe he was saying Spacey and I'm reading this? I have no fucking idea. Anyway, we held a true wedding that was no game of pretend. No fucking idea when they don't tell you. Oh, look how beautiful this is. Jesus, a dress is beautiful. Look, he's precious. Oh, I love it. We're both under the veil. Ugh. Alan, the bouquet in my hand was something he made for me. Aww. He chose every flower with love and care. Together we picked our wedding attire and had our ceremony, just the 2 of us. Being demons, no god watched over us. No pastor spoke, no friends attended. We were alone in the world, but content. We had each other's love. I, Alan Melville, vow to love and protect you as long as I live, so that you may continue to smile. His voice was soft and kind. I smiled at his words of affection and replied, I, Spacey Melville, vow to love and protect you as long as I live, so that you may continue to smile. You'll protect me. Yes, I promise to protect you, Alan. I see. That's comforting. He touched my cheek, gazing into my eyes with tenderness. Give me your finger. Okay. He took my hand and placed a ring on my finger. This ring was a symbol of our eternal love. It wasn't an engagement ring, but a wedding band. What? No. I don't think you really needed to say that when we're at the wedding and you're talking about being at the wedding and like whatever, and you didn't even say it's not an engagement ring, it's a wedding band. I think we got that. But just in case you weren't sure. Now, Alan, your turn. Okay. I mirrored his gesture and placed a ring on his finger. Again, just so you know, it's not an engagement ring, it's a wedding band, in case you forgot. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows and made our rings sparkle. In this dreamy chapel, we celebrated our quiet wedding. The only sounds that could be heard were the rustling of my dress, the flowers swaying together, and the fountain's gentle flow. This place feels familiar, like heaven. Yeah, I feel the same way. It was reminiscent of the eternal spring paradise we once knew. We shared a nostalgic smile, thinking of the paradise we lost, but still longed for. He caressed my face, and I leaned into his touch like a cat enjoying affection. Hey, look at me. I looked up, closing my eyes in anticipation of our kiss. And then, with a hint of surprise in his voice, he whispered, You truly... With my eyes closed, I heard him gasp. You truly have a way of making me lose my composure. His gentle rebuke was followed by a kiss that was an oath, a sacred part of our demon wedding vows. As our lips parted, I slowly opened my eyes. The gentle gaze hadn't changed for hundreds of years. It was still there. I promise to make you happy, no matter what. Whether as a demon or an angel or human, I want you to have eternal happiness. I'll spend my life protecting you, Let's find happiness together. As family, best friends, and lovers, we were each other's most important person. Our shared joy made us smile in silence. Nope. Day after the wedding. Look at him licking the chocolate off his fingers. Listen, I get it. It's a little sexy. It's not nearly as hot as Raoul's, though. Like that bastard. But Raoul is my favorite. I think Alan was a close second, if I remember from the first one. I think I liked his route, and he was pretty cool. But the day after our wedding, we went on a date, shopping for dinnerware to commemorate our union. Now, come on, hold my hand. Alan seemed even more eager than usual to hold hands. It was as if he feared I'd vanish if he let go. That was why I took his hand and squeezed it tightly. This is fun, Alan. Yeah, it sure is. Alan said that, but he just kept looking at me. All he saw was me, even when we were shopping. Look, you can see the ring on his finger. That's actually cool. Alan, what plates should we get? Well, how about a gratin plate? I'd love that, and a wooden spoon, the kind you use for honey. All right, I'll remember that. We hopped from store to store, discussing our purchases. Plates, curtains, placemats, sheets, and pillowcases. We needed many things for our newlywed life, and it took us the entire day to shop for all these essentials. Look, Alan, these curtains are adorable. Hey, that looks nice. It'd be easier to sleep in with these. Let's buy it. Sure. We bought many items, creating new memories. Then, something familiar caught my eye. I couldn't help but exclaim when I saw something that stirred a sense of nostalgia. Hey, they still have this! I remembered seeing this on a previous date. The date was nearly 20 years ago, before I became a demon. Much had changed since then. Yet it seemed like some things remained constant. Yes, so one of you guys mentioned that Jupiter's, because I think it was in Jupiter's route, because I was like, his timeline in the original was a complete alternate timeline, which makes sense, because, like, we never interned together in any of the other routes, so yeah. But confirmed that, and then said Alan's takes place 20, or his route ended, or at least this one takes place 20 years after the main game, so that's going to be a little weird, because again, I remember, like, he was an angel with us, and he was, like, our other half, or something like that, and, like, but I can't quite remember, like, when they took me to be Cupid, did that make him fall and become a demon or something? I don't remember exactly how that happened, but he was originally, we were both angels. I know that and then they plucked us and made us Cupid, but I can't quite remember everything else, but, like, this is supposedly 20 years later, so, like, everybody else, everybody else is dead. Not really, but if they show up, they better look older, because, like, you can't be putting people and being like, oh, they were in their 20s. Now they're 40. They can't, like, in anime logic, they basically look dead, to be fair. You know. You'd be like, seriously, like, you're going to see Gil and he's going to be, like, shriveled and gray. Oh, hey, Cupid, how you doing? Oh. You know, and, like, he's 185 because that's how they draw 40-year-olds. You've seen it in every game we play, in every anime you've ever seen. Everybody looks the same from, like, 16 to, like, 30, but once you start getting over the age of 35 and beyond, it's, like, lots of lines and wrinkles, and you basically, and you're like, what are they, like, 60? And they're, like, 45, and you're like, that's, what? Like, it's like, everybody, there's, like, children, then there is 16-ish and up, to, like, the 30 range. They all look the same. And then in the 30s, then they give them a little bit of eye wrinkles. You're like, oh, he's a little bit older. Okay. And then as soon as they hit 40, they're basically your grandpa. And everybody from 40 up is drawn like they're 100 and they've been alive for centuries. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're the old wise ones because they've been alive for thousands of years. And it's like, the fuck? So basically all our friends should look like they're about to die. Essentially, you know. Or they're not going to have changed at all, and it's going to be like, well, that's like, what the fuck? Like, hey, it'll be the first time that's ever nice. So, we'll see what happens. Or they're all dead, who knows? Yet it seemed like some things remained constant. You're right, It must be a classic. Alan picked it up, smiling softly. The gentle smile and gaze remained unchanged for centuries. He was my soulmate, the one I valued most in the world. But when I first met Alan at Cupid Corps, he didn't smile. I remembered how he regarded me with wary eyes. That was 20 years ago, and I'd just come to the human realm. I used to be Cupid. I was reborn as a human, and now I'm a demon, just like him. Okay, so, like, reborn as a human. So, like, did she... Huh. I don't remember that part. Okay, well, anyway. Before I became Cupid, I was an angel. That I part remember. And before Alan had fallen and become a greater demon, he was my other angel half. Okay, I remember that. I remember the angel pair part, but I don't remember her dying and being reborn? Back when I was a nameless angel who couldn't speak, Alan and I lived in heaven together. It seemed like paradise, and we were each other's whole world. We believed it would last forever. But everything changed when I was chosen to become Cupid. My time with Alan ended, and I lost my angel halo. For the next 400 years, I was tasked with shooting golden arrows and leaden arrows. But when I found out through social media how humans were living their lives... See, this is why we need these, like, what happened. I wanted to prove that humans didn't need the help of the gods by becoming a bridal advisor. I don't need this because I understand. I decided to stop being Cupid and go, yeah, no, I got that. I remember that part. That's the main purpose of the game. I need to know the rest of the shit that happened in his story. Let's flash back to that. That's when I found Alan, who was then part of the troublesome group known as the Parasite 5. Yep. Keep going. What's wrong? You want this? Alan pressed on the rubber chicken. Something about that felt nostalgic, and I laughed. It's fine. I was just remembering our reunion in the human realm. Oh, you mean our meeting at Cupid Corps? Yeah, back then you looked so evil, Alan. Evil? I've always been a big bad demon. But you're a demon that's kinder than anyone else. Back then I was clueless. I thought he was just another problematic client at Cupid Corps. There's our friends. The thieving parasite. Out of all of the members of the Parasite 5, he was the worst. He joined a marriage agency, yet he showed no interest in anyone unless they were already in love. He was passive toward finding a match. However, when I discovered his true identity, he had already left Cupid Corps. He told me he was a scary demon and tried to push me away. But things didn't go as planned. A misfired arrow from a Cupid's bow made me fall in love with him. Our whirlwind romance lasted 30 days thanks to my mistake. We lived as lovers in that short yet seemingly long time. He was supposed to be a terrible demon, but he was so kind to me, even knowing my feelings for him were caused by the golden arrow. Whenever I begged for a kiss, he would scold me and remind me I was just confused, yet he'd still lean in and kiss me. Suddenly, I caught a pleasant scent. What's wrong? I thought I smelled something sweet. Maybe it's a bath bomb. I picked up a heart-shaped object with a marble design. The package confirmed it was a bath bomb. Come to think of it, I loved using bath bombs during my college days. Back in college, I recalled the days I had to relive twice. Wow. I bid farewell to that life. Even if I wanted to go back, I was a demon now. Because my appearance would never change, I wouldn't be able to live in one place for long. People would notice. So I think now I'm trying to wonder if I do remember, shit, she was reborn. So then she lived a whole other life again, but didn't we see that maybe? But it's but she looked exactly the same type of a thing. If you were reborn, you'd probably look different. It'd be better to leave as soon as possible. At the very least, I stopped going to the places I used to frequent. I had moments when I regretted it, but I hid those feelings since I didn't want to hurt Alan. I tried to just live each day without worry. But it'd be too drastic of a change to move away completely. Until we were ready, we'd continue to live in Lost York. Hey, it does smell nice. Let's buy this too. You sure? Yeah, it'll be perfect for when we have a home with a tub. Our current place only had a shower, but being demons, it was inevitable we'd have to move to a new place one day. Alan picked up the bath bomb, a symbol of a future that we could look forward to once our time here had expired. Yeah, I can't wait to use this. Yeah. We added it to our basket and exchanged smiles. Hey, Ellen? Hmm? Are you happy right now? I sure am. What about you? I'm also very happy. Plates, bath bombs, spoons. We continued to gather essentials for a fresh start. It was these little moments in my life that brought me so much joy. As we enjoyed our shopping date, I couldn't stop staring at her. She's always so cute. I was happily just looking at her. I found myself always chasing her with my eyes. No matter how many years had passed, this hadn't changed. That's true. It would be 20 years in the future because we had to be reborn. So, yeah. If we were reborn, that makes sense. Okay, all right. Spacey. Feelings of love overcame me, and I let go of her hand to wrap my arm around her shoulder. She looked surprised for a moment, but soon smiled and nestled her head on my shoulder. Hmm? Nothing. I just wanted to do this. Her body was warm, and the gentle warmth was right here. Feeling her in my arms, I still couldn't believe the miracle I was experiencing. I was worried that if I looked away, even for an instant, she'd disappear. Yet every morning she was still there, still radiating with the innocence she had when she was still an angel. Even as a demon, you still haven't changed. Unlike me, a greater demon, she needed to eat, and she always slept for precisely 8 hours. I was relieved by these parts of her that would never change. But humans and demons alike, we'd always change. We weren't eternal like the gods. But I'd still sometimes wonder if this was the right path for her. I'd chosen a path that seemed right for my happiness. I became a demon because I made many mistakes in my past. She could have found happiness as a human. Yet I was the reason she became a demon. I resented my existence when we lived those 30 days of romance. She was divine and I was a demon. We were polar opposites. Even myths portrayed us at odds. I knew it was wrong to touch her, but I couldn't resist. Oh, flashback CGs. And I made the mistake of kissing her. My kisses stole her divine powers and shortened her life. And that's why I had to take her life. Oh, okay, I think I remember this. It's like, right, because it's like, well, I never thought Alan would stab me. Oh, okay. I murdered her and ripped out her soul so she could be reborn as a human. It was the only way to save her. I wanted her to be human so she wouldn't vanish because of me. But after those 30 days, my desire for her had intensified. I wanted to touch her. I wanted to be by her side. My urges kept growing within me. I left, but then used savings... Oh, I left, but then used saving her from drowning as an excuse to approach her. In the future, I think, right? I violated sacred rules. That's why she returned to her divine state. The gods took her. That wasn't the first time I ever resented them. Yet, she forgave me. Okay, and I think I remember this CG. It's beautiful. She chose me over her divine status. She chose to fall from heaven to become a demon like me. What's wrong, Alan? I must have stared at her too long. Spacey looked at me, worried. She was the love of my life, and we were married in secret. Nothing. Just thinking. All right. I wondered if she knew what I was thinking. She smiled gently and leaned into me. She'd always been like this, perceptive and consoling, even when she was my angelic counterpart. That's why all I want is your happiness. I want you to experience the happiness of a human, even if you're a demon. I want you to live each day without feeling any sort of sadness. I touched her cheek with my fingertips, and she smiled. She was irreplaceable. I didn't think I'd ever get used to these feelings of pure joy. After finishing our shopping, we relaxed at a cafe. Woohoo! Back to the donuts! Which is the CIA front. This place had been open for years and was famous for their old-fashioned donuts. It's kind of funny because they've been open for years, and a front for the CIA. This is delicious. You want to eat this one too? Sure. Strong, bitter coffee and extra sweet donuts. It's these little things that brought me so much happiness. We were happy when we were angels who couldn't speak, but chatting with Alan like this was always fun. And by the way, what do you want to do for our honeymoon? Honeymoon? Yeah, don't people usually go on honeymoons after the wedding ceremony? Oh, right. All I desired was to be with Alan. That's why the honeymoon had totally slipped my mind. But Alan didn't forget. He gave me the engagement ring, the wedding ceremony, and now the honeymoon. But what about your shop? I thought you closed it temporarily for the wedding. Oh, it'll be fine. It's always been like that. Huh? Was it? Yeah, before I joined Cupid Corps, my store was always closed irregularly. I've already told my regulars, and in any case, it's vacation season right now. Most shops will be closed for just as long. It's been open for so long that it'll be fine to close for our honeymoon. Oh, okay. He mentioned the vacation season, but I guess that's how it was. Back at Cupid Corps, I never got to take time off during vacation season because that time was an opportunity to expand our services. That's why I had completely forgotten about summer vacation. Okay, then let's go on our honeymoon. So, obviously, she remembers, her original life, meeting him and whatever, and then being reborn, and then she remembers everything type of a thing. Sure. Where do you want to go? I thought about the various tourist destinations in the world. Although, they've never really confirmed, it sounded like, oh, she was reborn, and, then the gods took her back, and it's did she live a whole second life? I don't remember that. I don't remember, and I'm not 100% sure if it's 100% clear if I'm just misremembering now. There are many places I wanted to see, but none of them felt right for a honeymoon. The only thing that came to mind was the landscape of our hearts, and that was rainy Ninth Avenue where the ocean can be seen. Was the rainy Ninth Avenue where we had our kiss? Because that seems better than, the ocean is where he stabbed us, right? So maybe that's not the best place. I feel like the Ninth Avenue one is the sweet choice, because, oh, that's where we kissed, and that's where that CG came from. I feel like that's where that was. I'm just making shit up. And then the ocean where you stabbed me. Spicy, you know? If that's the way it's leaning, if that's the way it's going, I would say Ninth Avenue is the better choice, because, let's go where you stabbed me? No, where the ocean could be seen. Okay. You're thinking of a place with an ocean view? The ocean, huh? No, that's the sweet choice. Okay. You'd think a nice ocean view is better than rain, but I don't know. I like the idea. It'll make the honeymoon feel even more special. Let's search for somewhere like that. Let's see, D'Amour Paradis. After that, we started hunting for our honeymoon spot. We visited a bookstore and picked up a travel guide to read through together. The guide featured places like the Mediterranean islands and Bali. With so many choices, it was hard to decide. Then a particular photo caught our attention. Hey, this is pretty. Where's this? This is D'Amour Paradis. Oh, but it looks a lot different now. It must have changed since it first opened. Since it first opened 20 fucking years ago. D'Amour Paradis. This whole entire route is literally just fucking my life in a nutshell, right? Seriously, where they're like, 20 years, everything's changed. The shop's been around for 20 and everything. You're like, everything is fucking weird. What the hell happened to the last 20 years? Seriously. I do this, I'm like, what happened? Wait, what? Time. What the fuck? I complain about this all the time. But all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was 5 years ago? Wait, what? 2 years? What? The fuck even is time? It's I don't even know. I was doing something with Sims, and I was looking at Sims that I made, and I was like, oh, I've made them over the last year or so, right? No, 2 years ago. Started making them 2 years ago, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell? That in my brain was oh, it's been probably about a year, and I'm thinking I'm gonna look and it's gonna be 6-7 months. It's 2 years. What? Eyes gonna start twitching. Like, but this is literally what happens as you get older. All of a sudden you're like, so yesterday, and you mean 3 weeks ago? And you're like, wait, what? What do you mean it's been 3 weeks? What? Shit? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's goddamn October! It's, at this point, it's probably the end of October, to be fair for you. Like, well, no. Not quite mid-October, but it's pushing to the end, I think. Like, but it's like, what the fuck? What is this, like, in the week of the 20... Are we hitting the... No. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where. I'm trying to, like, think of, like, where it is, but I'm like, it's basically encroaching on the end of October. Well, this might be in the week of the 20th or something, but, like, the shit? Like, it just was October yesterday, like October 1st. Obviously, for me, it's not the 20th yet, but it's still like, I'm still looking, I'm like, no, yesterday was October 1st. How are we almost halfway? What the fuck? Guys, so this whole route's going to be basically what happens when you get old. And all of a sudden, everything is like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's December? Wasn't it just October? Tomorrow's going to be essentially December. It's like fucking whatever. Stores putting out Christmas decorations October 2nd doesn't fucking help either. Do you more Paradise?
Yeah, it's a tourist destination they built in Los York. I think it was around the time you were born. There were lodgings, show halls, night markets and stuff. People talked about it so much when it first opened.
And it's so funny because she remembers her original life, and now he's like, before you were born, and it's like, so she was reborn, but it's like, but she still remembers the Cupid. Unless, like, Anyway. Well, no, it had to have been like, our original timeline was us meeting all of them, whatever. Dimor Paradise was opened when we were with everyone within a year or two after the other game ended, and then we were reborn right around that. So it's 20 years from, when the original game ended, or when all the other routes were happening. So basically, in Alan's timeline, while we're going off to Dimor Paradise with everybody or doing all of our shenanigans and all these routes, in Alan's timeline, we died and we're being reborn. But it is weird because it's about the time you were born, and you're like, you mean the second time that I'm aware of? Because she remembers the time working with him in the Parasite 5. So, like, she clearly remembers both lives, which is weird.
I always wondered what sort of expression you'd make if I took you there. Back then you were still young and you didn't live in Los York. I never thought we'd get a chance to go.
That's right. I lived in Wishington until college.
Every time I'd hear about it from customers at Pillow Luxuria, I'd imagine taking you there.
It's kind of adorable, though, that he was like, he killed us so we could be reborn as a human, and then he was just like waiting, like, I'm just gonna wait here until we meet again, girl. Like, that's adorable. Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I realized that this, like, okay, totally side note, because it's Sims related, but, like, the Life and Death pack for The Sims is coming out at the end of October. And, like, they have a function in there where, like, supposedly, I don't know how it fully works, but, like, your sim, when they die of old age or, like, whatever, can become a ghost, do some stuff as a ghost, and then be reborn. And you can actually choose, supposedly, I want them to be reborn into this household or whatever. And then you can, like, live the second life with your sim. So, essentially this. And I was like, how do I incorporate that? Because, like, I'm not a person that, like, when I do my legacy gameplays, like, I wouldn't really have my elders. I've moved on. They died. I don't really want to keep playing them and having them reborn back into the family. Like, that just seems like a lot more to add. So I'm like, maybe I do it once or twice, but it doesn't really fit in with my normal legacy play. So I'm like, how do I do this? So I was like, oh my God, guys, I wasn't even thinking about this until right now. It went click in my brain. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm essentially doing this. Because, like, I'm like, oh, you just have a vampire, Alan, so immortal being, who falls in love with a human who then dies, and then the human, like, becomes a ghost, does all their reborn stuff. You choose what happens, and then you just try to see when the human sim is reborn and goes through their second life, do they meet up? Do they still fall in love, or do all the other packs and everything kind of fuck that shit up? And, like, if they were soulmates before, are they soulmates again? Like, how does that work? Like, and I'm gonna play with that in the game, and I'm like, and then right now I'm just like, So I'm basically acting this out. The fact that I thought of this like a couple of days ago when I was playing Sims, and I was like, oh yeah, I should do that, blah blah blah. And now I'm doing this, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's fucking weird. Okay. I mean, it's not like this hasn't been portrayed in media a million other times, so it's not like I came up with a unique idea and it's just funny that this game's doing it. Like, it's not a unique idea. It's been done 100 times, but it's just funny that it's paralleling all of a sudden that I'm like, yeah, and then I play this route and I'm like, that's fucking weird. So, anyway, he nodded bashfully. Every time we talked about going someplace new, I also wondered how Alan would react. What sort of expression would he make? How would he feel? I felt so happy that we could be together once more. Let's try going to Diamor Paradis. I don't think your Sims will remember their past lives like she did, but whatever. Sure. My excitement was obvious, and Alan smiled in response. His smile made me happy, and we both laughed together. So I'm gonna guess Robin has nothing to do with this route because it's so spicy it melts. Because, you know, we didn't see him at Mao Donuts, so... Proserpina? Proserpina. No, it's Persephone. But I guess that's Persephone in Hades, isn't it? Not Pluto. So, anyway. The daughter of the Earth goddess was kidnapped by Pluto, the god of the underworld. Proserpina? That's so hard to say as opposed to Persephone was a hell of a lot fucking easier to say. That's a lot easier. Proserpina, like, who came up with that? Anyway, never responded to the courtship of Pluto, but out of hunger, she ate a pomegranate. Those who ate the food of the underworld would be bound to it. That was a rule set by the god. Well, I thought that, well, I mean, at least in the Hades lore, well, he adores her, and that's why he lets her go, and that's why spring happens. Isn't that, like, the whole concept of, like, is the fact that she's allowed for 6 months of the year to stay or go visit her family or whatever? And, like, that's what spring is. Spring is when everything comes to life because that's when she goes back. And then, like, that's summer. And then fall and winter is when she goes back to the underworld so everything dies because she's, like, especially daughter of the earth god. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole, story of the seasons is, you know, whatever. But doesn't Hades, like, fucking adore his wife? He's like, this bitch is fucking legit. Like, she's everything. Like, unlike other gods who were, like, Zeus banging everything that moves. You know what I mean? So, like, that's the kind of love story you want. The man that imprisons you for 6 months, but then lets you go out and do your own shit 6 months of the year. Whoops. And if you watch Kamigami no SOB, then you'd absolutely be in love with Hades too, because he's hot as shit and is voiced by Daisuke Ono. So, like, perfect. Those who ate the food of the underworld would be bound to it. That was a rule set by the gods. Not even her mother, the earth goddess, could change this. The number of pomegranates Proserpina or Proserpina, whatever. God, it's such a hard name to say. 8 determined how long the earth goddess would stop the harvest on the surface. Thus, winter was born in the human realm. It was a harsh season out of the year where there would be limited harvest. I mean, it's slightly the same thing, but still different. But the day of our honeymoon arrived. Not sure why that came up, so that's interesting. Diamor Paradis, the paradise of love. That was the name given to the artificial island built just off the coast of Lost York that's been here for 20 years. This place had become a popular romantic destination for couples. It looks exactly the same, but I don't see the lobsters everywhere. But I don't know if in this background their lobsters were everywhere. Wow! Stepping off the ferry, we felt a warm sun and gentle sea breeze. Oh, no, there it is on the left side of Omar Holdings on the very side over there. Then we grabbed some bubble tea from a nearby stall. So good! The wind feels nice, too. I love this place. Who says there's going to be bubble tea 20 years in the future?
Yeah, I didn't know it was like this.
Oh, you've never been here before, Alan?
Oh yeah, I never have.
His vague response hinted at something. Earlier, he was talking about wanting to see my reaction. He was always watching over me ever since the day I was born. For over 20 years, he didn't do anything else. So I wanted Alan to enjoy our honeymoon, too. Hey, Alan, tell me if there's anything you want to do. I mean, that does make it awkward. You're like, For 20 years since the day I was born, he was always watching over me grow up. And it's like, but But to be fair, he remembers you from a past life and you were angels together and whatever, and he made sure you were reborn. He was checking up on you type of a thing. So like, it's not weird like he's like a father figure. Don't get weird like that. Don't get me wrong, it's bad enough that the game's put in hot dads on the side who are like side characters who aren't your real dad, or sometimes they are. And you have to take a step back and go, her dad, not mine. It's not my problem, it's her problem, so I can bone him if I want. And Mental Man Harem, hi. We know especially which character if you've watched that gameplay. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but like, I don't give a crap. He's coming to my Man Harem because I'm not related to him. Main character is. I'm not her. That is the time I will disassociate. Not when it's my brother, though, in the game. Then it's not me. I'm the character, and it's my character's brother, not my brother, because that would be weird. But in the game, oh, hell yeah. Listen, I don't make the rules of my weirdness. But, like, it's really weird. They're like, that little part of me is like, nah, don't make it weird. And it's like, okay, wait. It's not weird in this case because he's an immortal being. He was with us in our past life and was just checking in, making sure we're doing good. And then now we remember everything. So it's not like he's like, and then I made sure you fell in love with me again, where you're like, that could be a little groomy and weird. It's not like that at all. We remember everything, so. Hey, Alan, tell me if there's anything you want to do.
Sure, but I've done plenty already.
And I feel like he would have watched over you, and if you never remembered your past life or him, and then you fell in love with someone else, he'd be like, making sure everything stayed good for you, you know what I mean? Shut up! He kissed me on the forehead and smiled. I'm sorry, my bird's being a cunt. Because he didn't want to come upstairs with me, because he was told he was a jackass. Because I asked him to go poopies, and he decided to poop on my motherfucking floor instead of go into his cage or go into his puppy pads like he knows how to do. He knows. He was being a dickhole. So, when I went upstairs, I'm like, fine, fuck you. And I just went upstairs. He didn't come with me, and he hasn't come upstairs, and now he's downstairs screaming, and he can go fuck himself. Because I hate that goddamn obnoxious noise he makes, so. I didn't mean to scream in your ear to tell him to shut the fuck up, but he can shut his fucking mouth right now. He is fine. He is fucking fine. He's a drama queen. The cold bubble tea I was holding left my fingers wet, a sensation I found oddly pleasant. I'll get him later. As we walked around, something caught my eye. Look, Alan, a merry-go-round.
Oh, I heard they built that recently. Want to take a ride?
Yeah. We finished our bubble tea and tossed the cups into the trash before holding hands. Soon we arrived at the merry-go-round. Aw, what a cute CG. It was lined with seats in the shape of horses, birds, and even a pumpkin carriage. I chose a horse and hopped on. Aw. Up we go!
Well, look out. You need to hang on tight.
Oh, now that I'm up here, it's actually pretty high up.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Alan, come on. The thing is it's high up, but like they move up and down, you know.
Sure.
Alan nodded, but he didn't budge. You should hurry up or you'll end up riding that pumpkin carriage. The horses were popular, so those seats were taken quickly. I was curious why Alan paused, then he gently touched my cheek.
I just wanted to savor seeing you so happy.
He smiled at me and claimed to be waiting until we heard the buzzer. We spent every day together. I felt utterly spoiled by him. Soon the buzzer sounded, signaling the start of the ride. Come on, Alan.
Yeah, I know.
Alan looked around for a seat near me. But all the horses were already taken, so we had to settle in the pumpkin carriage. The thing that's rude is, like, you see a couple together, you would assume that they're, like, you'd be like, are you taking this one? Before you just jumped on it. You know what I mean? Like, how rude are these people? It's a little fucking ridiculous that I'm, like, bashing the logic of fake people, but, like, you know, I mean, if you're with an adult and a child, like, you see an adult holding their kid on, you're not assuming... But you'd still ask, you're like, you're good. Okay, cool. I just want to, you know, you're not going to just jump on a horse and be like, fuck that guy that's standing there that's next to his girlfriend. You would ask. You'd be like, are you taking this one? Are you? Okay, never mind. Don't worry. You know what I mean? You wouldn't just jump on it. Unless you're a rude ass teenager. Then maybe you'd do it. But like most fucking adults have manners and would fucking ask. You know what I mean? Like, the only time it would be like whatever acceptable is like if your kid's there. And I want this one! Because the kids have to pick out their specific horsey. You know what I mean? And then you're like, are you okay? Like, and you know, then he would be like, no, don't worry about it. Because as an adult, I can stand to not ride next to my girlfriend so your kid could be happy with the horse he picked. That's about the only. But you know what I mean? There's like unspoken rules of like not being a douche. And like everybody just taking the horses so Alan can't ride. It's being a douche. You know what I mean? I don't know. Why are we psychoanalyzing these fake people? I don't know. But so, like, there's certain things that just make you go, what the fuck? Like, besides, the pumpkin carriage would be cute for like a romantic partner because you just snuggle on the carriage. It doesn't move, but afterwards we explored the newly added attractions. Aside from the merry-go-round, there were coffee cup rides. Oh, fuck yeah, teacups! I mean, technically they are more like coffee cups than they're the teacup ride at Disney, but like, and everywhere else, like, whatever. Oh, you know how excited I get about the teacup rides. Best fucking ride! If you were here for Tengoku's Struggle, then you know, because it was Goemon's Cauldron ride, but it was still a teacup ride, and it's the best motherfucking ride. Fuck yeah. Anyway, and auto rickshaws that ran throughout the island. The auto rickshaws were there 20 years ago. We rode on one with Shelby. We rode the auto rickshaw, enjoying what the island had to offer. They're new and improved, I'm sure. Before we knew it, the sun began to set. When night fell, we found a scenic spot on the island's edge. There, we noticed a couple holding their own wedding. Look, Alan, they're getting married! You're right. We kept ourselves hidden to make sure we didn't interfere. Congratulations, both of you! Congrats, I hope you become the happiest couple there is! Hey, oh, thanks, everyone! Thank you! Oh, so that kind of dress is the trend for wedding these days. In the past, brides mainly wore white, but now it seemed the dresses were more colorful. As I watched the wedding, old habits from my time at Cupid Corps resurfaced. No, you shouldn't intrude. Let's head back. Oh, right. Yeah, it's almost time for check-in, so I guess we should get going. What are you checking in the middle of the night? It's usually like late afternoon. Come on. Alan offered his hand to me. His usual smile seemed different, but perhaps it was just the evening light. After a delightful dinner, also I'm assuming they have some place that you can hold, they hold your bags for you before you can check in, because like otherwise you're dragging around your suitcase with you? Like that's rude. The weird shit I think of. We finally reached our hotel. We'd chosen a honeymoon package for our room. Woohoo! Get to see the honeymoon suite again. There you go. There it is. Wow, this room is nice. They'd welcome drinks and a plate of fruit ready for us. The room was decorated in a way that was fitting for a honeymoon. I couldn't help but inspect everything. Yeah, it's perfect for a couple, isn't it? I hope you brought the bath bomb, because I think there's a bathtub here. Look, Alan, is that a lobster decoration? It's so cute. Look how round it is. Yeah. Hey, they have a big jacuzzi here. Wow. Well, okay, maybe it was just the jacuzzi that we went in with Shelby or whatever. Was it Shelby? Maybe? I don't know. Yeah. And matching loungewear for us. It's so cute. Look! You're so... While I was still looking around the room, Alan suddenly embraced me from behind. With the loungewear still in my hand, I heard his voice laugh softly. You're right about that. You'd look great in it. He turned me around and gently kissed my lips. Then he smiled playfully. Since we're here now, will you show me? Hell yeah. Huh? Right now? Yes. Here, raise your arms up. I'll help. Okay, I'm not a baby. I don't need your help dressing. Well, I mean, you can help me undress, but I don't know why you're going to put clothes back on me. As Alan helped me change, we started playfully horsing around. Sure we did. It felt so ticklish that I couldn't help but laugh. While laughing, I hug him, tickle him back. I feel like hug him is the sweet one and tickle him back is the spicy, and I want to hug him, to be fair, but yeah, tickling him back. All right. Alan, I won't give up. Tickle, tickle! Tickle, tickle! You do that to children. Do you do that to adults? Like if you're having a tickle fight, do you say tickle, tickle? This is ridiculous. Okay, now that tickles. Not there. You're sneaky, aren't you? Oh, well, in that case... Spicy. I told you it was spicy. I knew all of Alan's ticklish spots just as he knew mine. Mind? Mine. Wow. But I knew I had no chance if he got serious. I can't. This is too much. We laughed together as we both collapsed onto the bed.
Here, come on top of me.
Wow, sir, getting right to the point. Okay. Do I get to take your clothes off? Oh, spicy!
Sure. Or should we head to the bathroom?
What? Our playful teasing continued as I helped him undress. Suddenly, we heard cheering coming from outside our window. God, are we on candid camera? I wonder what's going on. Looking out, I saw a newlywed couple holding a banquet at a nearby restaurant. Look, Alan, it's the wedding party from earlier. Huh. Oh, you're right. You guys should not be just standing on the balcony watching them with your dinglebits out. Alan got up from the bed while carrying me in his arms. I clung to him tightly as we made our way to the balcony. Below us, the wedding guests celebrated with the bride and groom. You know, I'm sure they have multiple rooms that can qualify as a honeymoon suite, because it's kind of like, they're getting married here. You think they'd want a honeymoon suite, but we booked it. Bitches! Like, you know? There was enormous wedding cake. The couple cut it together and fed each other a bite. I have a feeling this is leading to the, wow, yeah, we had a private wedding that was just us, but it doesn't count, so we're going to do a fucking another wedding. Listen, I get it that it's like, if we didn't get married in the first game, we're going to do it again in this one, or, you know, whatever, because, like, that's the whole point. But, like, if we already had a wedding, we don't need to have another one. We have so many routes where we're like, we did like 15 weddings. We don't need like 12 weddings. We really don't. We did one. We kind of saw the CG for it. We had a wedding. It's good enough. Like, all our friends are like really fucking old, and it'd be really hard to explain to them how was reincarnated and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like, who are we going to invite? So like, I don't feel that, but I feel like that's what they're leading up to. Like, yeah, let's do a wedding with all of our friends that don't know that I was reincarnated, and then we have to explain all this to. You know what I mean? Like, why? Why? You know? I don't know. And why do we have to have multiple weddings? It was a joyous scene of newlyweds basking in the happiness of their marriage. I get with Gil because he's crazy. So, like, okay, that makes sense. But, like, we kind of always do, like, what? We don't, it's okay. We don't need to do this.
Oh, it looks like they reserved the whole restaurant to hold that party.
The wedding cake is huge. As I watched them, my old habits as Cupid kicked in, making me feel affectionate towards the new couple. They look so happy. How wonderful that weddings like this still happen. It's only been 20 years, not 200. It's not like 200 years and you're like, wow, okay, that's when humanity would drastically change. But like 20 years, like, unless you're like only 20, like most people can like remember 20 years ago. Yeah, things are different if you're 25 than you were like when I was 5. But like, even if you just go back and read things about 20 years, it wasn't that I mean, shit was different, but people still got engaged. It's like, wow, people still had weddings back then? Wow, you had TV? Yes, and it was in color. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I mean, like, yes, there is a point where times change and it depends on where you are. Like, look at, like, it's the greatest generation is the 20s and 40s was like the war generation, whatever, I can't remember, but like, or boomers or whatever, growing up with like black and white TV and then getting a color TV. Like, most of us didn't grow up watching black and white TV. So that is a huge thing. So if you went from like, when I died, everything was black and white to like, wow, the world's in color now. Like, yeah, that's different, but like, certain things are still the same. Wow, people still have weddings. Duh. People have been having weddings for centuries. You've been watching them for 400 years, Cupid. What the fuck? Some of these choices and like what she's saying is so bonkers. Like, wow. It's 20 years, not 200. And for someone that remembers the 400 years she was Cupid, that's when you're like, that's when time changed from over that 400 years, not 20 years. Like, I mean, a lot of things change drastically, but most things stay basically the same. You know? You're born, you get old, and you die. And maybe you get married and have kids in there. Maybe you don't. You know what I mean? Like, wow, people still have kids? Yes. You know what I mean? Oh, good Lord. I used to watch over the human realm from Celestia for hundreds of years, and you'd think you'd remember weddings. I'd always check up on the couples I'd matched. Seeing how weddings evolved over the years was fascinating. That I understand. But, like, oh, it's cool to see how different a wedding is after 20. But, like, acting like weddings over 20 years later is fascinating. It's like, well, I mean, it's one thing to be like, wow, the style of dress, like colorful dresses as opposed to white dresses. Yeah, okay, that's different. But, like, well, people still have weddings. Duh. Even after I became a demon, I continued my matchmaking. I would even visit the couples occasionally. Seeing humans and their happiness bring me so much joy. I was no longer a god, but couldn't a demon care for humans too? As these thoughts filled my mind, Alan gently turned my face to his. Spacey, look at me. Huh? Oh, there you go. There you can look at him in all of his half-naked glory, in case you wanted to. All right. You good? Take it all in. Take a screenshot if you really need to. Okay. Before I could react, he kissed me more intensely than before. You stop looking at them and bone your husband. I'm not moaning for them. His kiss deepened, taking me by surprise, and I instinctively tensed. But he continued, his pace gentler now, coaxing me into relaxation. Drawing me near, he conveyed a sense of urgency through his touch. His long, slender fingers held me firmly, ensuring I was securely in his embrace. Alan? It's our honeymoon, isn't it? His voice was husky as his lips trailed down my neck. There was something different about him tonight. It wasn't just the celebratory mood of our honeymoon. There was a depth of emotion, a sadness mingled with the passion. Silently, I clung to him because he was still carrying me. I was aware that we were still on the balcony. Alan, let's go inside. We're in full view here, and you're not wearing pants. Well, we don't know. He might be. It's fine. What do you mean? It's our honeymoon. Let me be a little selfish. I looked up, finding his eyes clouded with a mix of desire and sorrow and blushing. The tone of his voice seeped with envy, and I finally understood why. Perhaps he wished for a grand celebration like the one we'd seen earlier. Yeah, I feel like that's what they're gonna like, the route they're forcing us into. But our unique circumstances as demons meant our friends didn't age as we did. Clarice might have come if we asked, but if we did, it would have reminded us of the people who couldn't. We had no choice but to remain alone. It was a lonely realization. I was sure of that. It's okay, Alan. I patted Alan on the head as he breathed in deeply. Spacey. His expression was slightly mortified. He seemed to want me even more. The distant ocean waves echoed his emotions. As the tide swelled, so did the intensity between us. The heat that touched me felt especially hot tonight. I'm not moaning. Later that evening, I watched her sleep as I held her close. Spacey. I held her daintily as to not wake her, but relished her warmth. I didn't need to sleep, but she had to when she was tired. She was just like a human. Despite being a demon, her human-like qualities remained, just as they had when she was a god or an angel. It feels like I'm always taking and never giving back. My desire for her persisted even as she slept. After she drifted off, I entered her dreams. Well, hey, I would not necessarily mind that, because, I'll be asleep, but feel free to come in here and get frisky in my brain. It was my usual way of feeding, but tonight I craved her more than ever. And, if you're going to feed off my dreams, I'm totally okay with this. It's very vampire-y. I'm all right with it. Even in your dreams, that's the expression you wear. I felt so happy and fulfilled. It was the look of a woman who would indulge my every whim. And honestly, it's a perfect kind of symbiotic relationship in a way, because, I have to sleep and eat to sustain myself, and his version of eating is when I'm sleeping, he feeds off my dreams, and it's, totally cool if you're going to give me sexy dreams, awesome, have fun. Because it's not doing anything negative to me, really, you know what I mean? I get to sleep, you get to feed, and cool. Works! Whenever she made that face, I wanted her even more. Sometimes I felt like I overdid it. I hope she's able to wake up tomorrow. What humans call the act of lovemaking is an exchange of energy for demons. Though it should have revitalized her, I still worried that it strained her body. Before she was a demon, this act would have drained her life force.
Even though I knew things were different now, a sense of guilt still overcame me whenever we made love.
Well, that's interesting. So it's better I'm a demon now, because now we can fuck, so.
Hey, are you happy right now? I whispered a question to her while she slept, one I couldn't ask when she was awake. Even if we couldn't share our wedding with anyone else, even if all we would ever have was each other, I believe she'd say she was happy. Knowing that made it harder for me to ask. Damn. For the first time, I recognized my own vulnerability and covered my face with my hands. My first wish was simply for her to keep living. Then I wished for us to live together. But now, I desire even more. It seems I'm becoming more greedy.
Depends on where that greed's leading us.
Once I felt content, new desires emerged. During our honeymoon, all I wanted was her happiness. But after I saw the other couple's public celebration, I wanted us to be noticed too. That's why I chose the hotel's honeymoon package and made love to her on the balcony.
'Cause you wanted people to see us fucking up there. You know! Okay.
I hadn't realized that I wanted my love to be acknowledged by others. All I could think about was getting what I wanted. For a long time, I never imagined I'd even get to experience this happiness. And this is getting to my head. I gave her a gentle kiss while she slept. Even that small gesture stirred some emotions within me. I wanted her. I wanted her to be happy. That feeling would never change. Overwhelmed by my endless desire, I held her close. In that tender moment, happiness enveloped me.
Upon waking, the first face I saw was Alan's.
Morning.
Good morning, Alan. This was my daily morning scene. Since Alan, a greater demon, didn't need to rest, I always woke up to him watching me. He'd embrace me and nuzzle my cheek the moment I woke up. Alan, have you eaten?
Yes, you should know that.
Yeah, I remember. It's just... I recalled the dream from the previous night, making me blush. Oh, hi. So you fucked me on the balcony and then you fucked me in my dreams? And that's fine. I'm here for it. The way Alan fed in that dream was rather intense. In my dreams, he'd do things that were impossible in reality. The more depraved it was, the more it seemed to satisfy him. I mean, it's gotta be awkward when you wake up and you're like, the dream was awkward, but... And knowing that he knows because he gave it to you, but yeah, all right. But I didn't expect him to go so far this time.
Hey, room service called. Your breakfast will be here soon. Go ahead and freshen up.
Oh, breakfast in bed?
Yes, it's part of the honeymoon package.
Yay!
All right, time to rise and shine.
Before I could do anything, Alan lifted me from the bed and carried me to the bathroom. By the time I got dressed, breakfast had arrived. It was beautifully arranged with a honeymoon theme, which delighted me. All right, we're a little under time, but I'm going to stop here because we might end up going too far over, and I don't want to do that. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.